So phase one of the hydroponic veggie patch is complete. So I thought I'd give a quick update and tour. Apologies for the mess. A lot of the stuff I tore out I've just left here for now and haven't had a chance to cut this grass for a while, obviously. So this is my reservoir for my gravity fed stuff. 300 litres, which is all nutrients at the moment. And this is the old veggie patch. This is Ramble patch, that's still very much soil based. I haven't even tidied up my tools, so apologies for that. So here we've got some tomatoes, which are behind them the fig tree, which is starting to look quite cool. That's obviously soil based. Tomatoes in Dutch buckets, so they have a pump that comes on every 2 hours for 15 minutes, fills them with water, and that drains back into the reservoir. Some nice tomatoes coming up, as you can see. Quite a few actually, quite a scary amount. So the tomatoes here, I've got just some wool that comes in the frozen food that we get delivered. So it's an insulator from the frozen food. Wool's perfectly natural, of course, fairly neutral. I've got this in here for two reasons. Firstly, the tomatoes like warm feet, as they say. So there's a little bit of keeping the material underneath warm. Also it helps with evaporation, because that's one of the few ways you lose water in these systems, along with transpiration from the leaves. And also what it does is let the roots grow all the way up to the surface. So you can see here the tomato roots are coming all the way up to the surface of the mix. The mix itself is 50-50 perlite and vermiculite, which gives you a great mix of nutrient retention, water retention, while still keeping a bit of drainage. Most of my tomato seedlings actually took, and I'm a sucker for self-sets. So a lot of the self-set tomatoes I've found out and about I've transplanted over into hydroponics as well. So all this side here is hydroponic tomatoes, and some in the end as well. This is a big nutrient film technique rig. So basically there's a reservoir down here. I'll just lift this. This is just to prevent algae. So there's a reservoir down here, pumps water up to the other end. Let's just get a little trickle coming back down these pipes, and you just see that little trickle. And I don't know if you'll be able to see that, but all these plants are bare roots, just dipping the roots into that, taking as much water as they need. Some of them are a little bit saggy at the moment, because I had to transplant them in the middle of the day yesterday because I was running out of time. So I think a couple of lettuce may not make it, but everything else will bounce back just fine. So in here we've got tomatoes, like I say. We've got some Romanesque heads, kind of broccoli, cauliflower stuff, cabbages, some basil, a lot of different varieties of chilies, and then up at the other end we've got some aubergine or eggplant, depending on where you're from, and some capsicum or bell peppers, depending on where you're from, and there's some kale in there as well. The kale's done a lot better than the lettuce. I've got some reserve lettuce. I'm going to transplant that over once the sun goes down tonight. And then from the gravity feed, you can see there's a gravity feed pipe coming down here. So I've got 3 rails of gravity fed stuff. These are some low growing things, and some sweet corn actually, which I need to put somewhere else, but that's fine. So parsnips, beetroot, turnips, carrots, and a couple of melons that I plan to run along the ground underneath the pipes, because that's wasted space otherwise. And then over here we've got a couple more rails of the gravity fed stuff. So just to show you, it gets gravity fed down, and then there's a float valve here that stops it when the water level gets to a certain thing, so it doesn't overflow. End caps for this are 3D printed from a guy called Hoocho, who runs a great hydroponic site, Australian guy. And just to stop the sunlight getting in and causing loads of algae to form on the nutrient rich water, we've also got these little covers. So I'll just pop these back on. Never done this one-handed before. Just snap on like that, and you can lift it up and make sure everything's good. Stops the sunlight. And some shallots, just to show you what's going on here. Under here, each of these has got a hole drilled in the bottom and a neck cup, just dipping into that water, nutrient rather. So these are all filled, not with soil, because it's obviously hydroponics, so we don't use soil. These are filled with a mixture of coconut coir, which is left over from processing. It's the husk of coconuts that they don't use when they're making, with processing coconuts for food, and perlite just to help it drain. So that stuff, the coir holds so much water. Those big buckets, the coir actually holds about 20 litres of water, so they're pretty resilient anyway without the gravity feed, but obviously the gravity feed keeps it all good. So what have we got in here? We got some, this is some cucumber. I'm not sure we've got any on here at the moment. I took some off yesterday. Let's have a quick look. There's a few flowers, so we'll get some. Oh no, there's tiny ones forming down there. I took quite a big one off yesterday. I need to tidy up some of the leaves that are damaged in transit. That's courgette. Oh no, that's yeah, these are theoretically pickles. Obviously I let them go a little bit too big while I was transplanting them, so we've got some courgettes in there, or zucchini depending on where you're from. Coming up here we've got some spiky cucumbers just starting to form. See a couple there. More courgette slash zucchini. This is some squash which I've got staked up, so we've got one forming there, which is nice. Some sweet corn, it's probably in too small a tub. And coming down, in case you haven't been here before, this is the creek. This is absolutely wonderful, but also the bane of my life, because the bird life is absolutely marvellous, but the weeds coming up. You see the nasturtium just starting to attack stuff here. I need to trim that back before we go away. On the other side we've got some tomatoes, which I'd let get completely out of control, so I'll just stake those up. There's a whole variety in there. Like I say, I'm a sucker for self sets, so we've got a few different kinds of tomato kicking around in there. Sweet corn, shallots, sweet corn. You've got some beans growing up there. They're doing quite well. I'm certainly going to plant more of them next year. And some more tomatoes. Like I say, these have got crazy out of control, but they're doing quite well. So I don't want to hack at them this late in the season. Can't forget the other important part of the veggie garden, which is the beehive. Pollinate all our lovely blossom flowers. Oh, a bit suspicious of me. So this is how the coir comes. It's in dehydrated compressed brook form. This will make about 20 litres of that stuff, well, minus the perlite of course, and basically you just add water to it, although I tend to add the hydroponic nutrient, so it comes ready for the plants to start growing in. So yeah, that's what we've got going on. So we'll run up here, so you can see some of the, like I say, some of this is a bit wilted due to when I had to transplant it, but you can see all the chillies doing pretty well. They've bounced back tremendously. They were looking very sad yesterday. Some capsicum slash bell pepper and some aubergine slash eggplant. Yeah, and these are my compost heaps. Still going to use those for the made out of all pallets, obviously. Still going to use those for the ornamentals, and this is where we've got the globe artichoke going on, which is quite a pretty flower. That's past its best, but I posted a pic of that the other day. Fig tree again, looking fantastic. Lots of figs forming. Yeah, so we've got some beans that some last remnants of the beans that were planted in the soil. I'm going to put some hydroponics in there next year. And that's us. This is Tomato Alley again from the other side. Anyway, yeah, just thought I'd share an update on what's going on. I'll see you soon, hopefully. A moment's silence for this tool that didn't make it. You did a good job, buddy.